in a little bit earlier, did try and actually do something in relation to this, as much as people are arguing that these political candidates should actually be addressing this key problem. But remember, it's not an isolation case to Kenya only. There are certain factors that have led us to this situation that we are in currently, Dibal. The fact that various economies have currently opened from the pandemic, and most of them are still trying to boost their manufacturing, their economic activity, and this has increased demand right across the world. At the same time, one of the top producers, that is Russia, number 2 in the world, is also facing sanctions. So it means that supply has severely been constrained, both in Russia as well as other key oil producers such as the US, whereby we're having producers who are a bit skeptic in terms of increasing their output, fearing that there should be a price depreciation in the coming few months. So the fact that the global markets have actually rattled most countries in terms of the countries that are importing this commodity, it's not an isolation case for Kenya. But when it comes to the Kenyan case, is the fact that we do have a stabilization fund in place that is a subsidy that is meant to cushion businesses and consumers against these hiking prices. So if it were not for this stabilization fund that the government spends about 8 billion shillings every month, then we would see petrol prices rise to almost 188, 181 for diesel and super petrol respectively.
So the issue is not really, that I think is largely a contributing factor when we talk about the subsidy, but this is really pegged on the dollar right now, which is really spooked as it is, and now our shilling is really suffering because we have to import this crude oil or oil as it is right now, but we have to pay with now the current rate. We've seen central bank also intervening on this, but the reality on the ground is what people are selling out there is not really 116 or 117, whatever it is right now. It's almost 124, 25. All
right, in the parallel market. I mean, it's ideally such a complex web, but at the end of the day, it's a fact that businesses, these oil marketers are actually importing this commodity. They still want to make money at the end of the day because they're in business, Dipal. But there's no way I'm going to import the fuel at 118 and you expect me to, sell it at a loss so that I can make a loss. It just doesn't work like that. So of course there have been that debate in relation to the fact that they are coughing a lot of money in terms of dollars in importing the commodity, but the government is at the same time trying to cushion consumers using that stabilization fund, which by the way, they haven't been paid all their monies. So currently right now it's quite a complex web, and right at the heart of it are the consumers and the businesses who are feeling the heat. And Dibal, it's not going to get any better. Remember, currently we are not really exporting as much as we would love to, so we really don't have that much needed foreign exchange that we would otherwise have, and also our debt levels are skyrocketing. Now all this is contributing to the fact that the shilling is not performing well, and also the strengthening of the dollar globally. Remember, we did see quite a number of investors rush off to the US, where they see it as a safe haven considering the fundamentals in the market. So I mean, it's going to be a tough couple of months, but I should tell you that demand will of course depreciate as more people keep their vehicles at home. At the same time, we also expect a rise in inflation. Remember, we did see that figure rise to 7.1 in May, so we're expecting that to also go up as various commodities take the cue from the high fuel prices.
Indeed. Even as we're winding up, I think you've oriented my thought to something else, which is the debt, and the Senate is expected to be sitting tomorrow. The issue of a debt ceiling has been, of course, done and dusted with the National Assembly. Now it comes to the Senate. Do you think we have a handy opportunity to see that particular ceiling being stopped, or that also will be a stamp of approval from the Senate?
I mean, Dibal, look at our options. What options do we have really? We need to pay those debts. We can't afford to default on those debts. Otherwise, we would entirely have a bad picture when it comes to the international community. I mean, there's nothing, an alternative that we would have if we do not actually, raise the debt ceiling. So it's quite a complex environment that we're living in at the moment. Economists and policymakers shaking their head in terms of what they can do to boost economic activity, keep growth going on, and as well at the same time continue consumer spending, because we all know once consumer spending goes down, then we do have that economic growth also plummet.
Indeed.
Yeah.
and that will be an albatross.